I'll give it just a minute. Good morning. I am just getting started. Hello, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Just kind of, good morning, Shauna. It's good to be back home. So fun visiting with you. All right, let's see. Okay, so today, let's see, we were going to talk about what is today. Today is the 12/12 portal. So there have been a lot of different references about this portal. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. I've seen a few different. The ones that feel the closest and the strongest resonance with what I'm experiencing is calling it the Trinity or Christ Consciousness portal. It's also about full Merkaba activation, which is part of why, I was running that special about working with you directly on your Merkaba. Good morning, Sierra. And then it's also, the portal energy that's coming through is also about creating more unity consciousness. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about was kind of what does it even mean to have a portal? What are these energies even supposed to be doing? What is ascension? I know a lot of people that I work with and talk to haven't actually heard these terms. I will definitely pull a card for you, love, when we get to that part later. Oh, good job, Teresa. And hi, Aga. Miss you, love. I hope you're doing well where you're at. So yeah, basically what is it when a portal opens up? Okay, what we're having happen is the dates that we're experiencing, we have for a long time, and now as a collective, we organize our year around these dates. So we're all writing these numbers down. We're thinking in terms of it's 12/12/2016. We use these vibrational frequencies as a tuning in and of themselves to this time, to this day. Thank you, Aga. And we use this the frequency vibration of the numbers is impacting all of us. It's kind of aligning us. Now, when you start to, morning, Andrea, when you start to work with frequencies, when you start to work with energies, you begin to be communicated with by numbers through license plates, through time, through phone numbers. For about 3 days, I was getting constant phone calls, like I would say between 5 and 12 a day for 3 days from a phone number of 00000000000. And I'd answer it and there'd be nothing there. So numbers are used a lot to communicate with us, to attune things, to align things. The frequencies of those numbers all represent different energies. That's one of the reasons why numerology and astrology, why tarot, why these things work, is because they're representing a frequency, a vibrational frequency. And when we start to look at numbers and vibrations, we'll see lots of pairings of things, right? So a lot of the angelics, the archangels that we think of, will resonate with a particular number frequency as well. So when we're on a portal day, where today, 12/12, everything is lining up 1 2 1 2 1 2, that frequency is designed to activate, to open, to balance, and to unify. We look at marriage in terms of a union, a unifying of two into one. Well, the same thing is happening right now. You are coming into oneness with all aspects of you. And as that occurs, as you're merging with all the parts of yourself, yeah, we're all seeing those numbers a lot. As you're merging more with the parts of yourself, other aspects of your vessel, of your expression life, of your frequency, Chris, you made it, good job, are also activating. These activations will cause you to have things like sensing more around you what the energies are, walking into a room and really being able to feel the climate of the room, perhaps even getting to the point where you're identifying who is feeling what in that room, who is projecting more of their feelings, who is setting the mood in the room. You know, you'll start to play with these concepts and this awareness. Your intuition will start to activate. Perhaps you'll be driving along and you'll hear something and it'll feel like, oh my God, that was deep, profound truth. And then you realize the radio wasn't really on, you know, or it just came through you. It just streamed through you in this deep truth. You'll find that perhaps you're starting to notice things. Maybe you're seeing darkness, dark shapes out of the corner of your eyes. Maybe on camera, like me, you're brightening up or lighting up. You'll notice these differences in the frequencies, the energies around you. You'll notice things like, you'll see right through things. Those are all intuition, clair senses, your sight, your hearing. Those are also activating. Right now, my sense of smell, my clair sense of smell, I forget all of these words when we're in these kind of things, but that for me has been really strong. You know, I've been smelling bubble gum. I've been smelling cologne. I've been smelling cigarettes and beer, but that's my grandfather. I've been smelling all sorts of different things. So all of this stuff, it's opening up. And on a portal day like today, it's going to get more amplified. So maybe you're going to think about somebody and then they're going to call. Or maybe you're going to have an idea about something, and that is going to be the idea that starts the whole chain of your next few years of service and work and life. Today is an opening day and an activation day. When we talk about the Trinity, one of the things, so, you know, on this, the whole point of this is to share my experiences, to open up conversations, to create a space where we can come together and talk about and think about the similar concepts and get ourselves into a unity space. So one of the things that I had happen for me about 4 months ago, 4 months ago, I suck at timelines. I'll just own that right now. I started in meditation seeing this symbol, and the symbol became stronger and stronger and stronger. It was like burned into my third eye. So when I'd close my eyes, that's what I would see. And through a series of synchronicities, I ended up ordering a Thoth Tarot deck. And when I got the deck and I was looking through and orienting, I was shocked because the symbol was in the deck. And it's this symbol right here. Now, this symbol represents the Trinity, right? It's the three, the separation of the one into the three. And we know that concept from many different religions and cultures. I don't like to get into the stories too much, the belief systems too much, because those are personal and private, and that's how we make it all make sense. But ultimately, this is the foundation for your Merkaba, right? And it was during that time I started realizing that I needed to consciously be understanding, learning, and using my Merkaba and become familiar with it. And so I started working with it more consciously, using it as my grounding and activation piece, and so on. So what is a Merkaba? Well, it's a shape, right? Like and some people consider it to be like a vessel that's around you, an energetic field. Now, everybody has this. It's natural. It's a part of you. But because as a culture and as a community, we've lost the practice of doing these sorts of energy work, this consciousness expansion work, consciousness meditations, we've forgotten how to access it. We've forgotten how to focus with it, how to use it, utilize that. And so it's gotten a little messy. You know, for me, when I first started using my Merkaba, really focusing in on it, becoming conscious of it, trying to bring it into the forefront, I found that I'd start to build it in my meditation, but then all of a sudden I'd be like on the outside of it, and I'd be looking in and I'd feel like I was viewing it from this plane. And I was talking with a friend who's a wizard, and he said, well, that's because you haven't gone into the center of your Merkaba. You're still trying to watch what's going on from the outside. That was transformational for me. Just that little piece of awareness that I wasn't holding, because I was, bringing the human part of myself. I want to see, I want to know what's going on. So I was looking at it from the outside, kind of like Source, right? I want to see, I want to know, I want to experience. I'm going to go outside of myself and forget myself and look back and try to figure out who I am, right? These are like that fractal pattern. Everything it's the macro versus the micro. It's always like that. So the unity consciousness is taking that three, the trifecta, the three, and bringing it into the one. But the 1, 2, 1, 2 for us is open and engage and balance. That's what's happening right now. The other piece that's happening right now is the Christ consciousness. Now, I avoided tapping in to the Christ consciousness grid for a very long time because of my own personal biases. And I still, there's still this little hitch part of me who's like, oh, because I struggle with religions. I struggle with belief systems in the sense that I really feel that they've done a great disservice for many of us. I know that for a lot of people, they've created a space, a home, but for many others, they've taken a space and home away. But all of my life, I have been curious and wanted to understand who Jesus was, right? But the Christ consciousness isn't the same thing as who Jesus is. They're different. Just like the consciousness that is my higher self, that is my highest expression, isn't the same as the Jessie sitting in this chair talking to you through Facebook Live. They're not the same. The Christ consciousness is like that core consciousness grid of all things that are in existence. It's a total acceptance. It's this web of all of us. And we're all already connected to it, just like we all already have a Merkaba. We're all a part of it because we're a piece of that unity consciousness. We're a part of it. We can't help it. That's why we're drawn to that figure who represented an embodiment of it in the physical form. The thing about transitioning into unity consciousness that I find people struggle the most with is that shadow piece, is the part where they must accept that everything that's happening to them, everything that's on the outside of them, is something they have to endure, is something that's happening and occurring to them, and it's outside of their control. It's outside of their ability to shift it or change. And I think the reason that we struggle with that is because we have to forgive ourselves for creating something that's awful. Kind of like when, you do something stupid and absent-minded and you trip and you fall and you actually really get injured. Shauna knows about that. That is something that we have to forgive ourselves for often. We get angry, we're frustrated, we get irritated, we feel like we've let ourselves down, we've disappointed ourselves. We've created a problem for ourselves. Look what I did to my foot. That concept, that feeling. And the same thing happens when people start trying to shift or change or adjust perspectives that have created suffering for them. So let's say you're in an abusive relationship. I can understand that, Let's say you're in an abusive relationship. Well, you have to forgive yourself for creating that kind of a relationship for yourself. And that's really hard because it's obvious it's this other person who's doing it to us. It's this person outside of us, and I can't control them. I can't make them behave any differently. So that part is the struggle, that little piece. And To work on that is a big thing. But what I'm finding is with this kind of portal energy that's opening up, as well as I believe it started for a lot of people back at the 1010 portal, on off portal, people started to struggle with everything that they had denied about themselves up until that point. That's the whole point, is to see every aspect of your shadow self and accept it and let it be a part of you. And so all the things that are outside of you, that's the parts of you you've rejected, that you've decided on some level at some point, whether it's in this expression or in another master expression, or maybe it's part of your contractual agreement, we could go on. You decided that that you are not going to be worthy of love. You're not going to be valuable. You're not going to be able to hold your head high and feel of worth because this occurred, because you did this thing, because you made this choice, because you brought this abuser into your life. That's a hard one for people to know how to handle, know how to manage. And I think that if you don't have a daily practice, if you don't have a meditative practice or a set of tools or support system that supports you with seeing how it is that those experiences that are painful, that are frustrating, are actually serving you, I would recommend that you start working on that, because this is not going to get any less. This is the opening of that energy, and now the energy is here. So moving forward, it's not going to get better. These ascension symptoms aren't going to lessen, they're going to increase. And for those who are struggling a lot with it right now, maybe it's because it's too hard to allow yourself to find how it serves. And you're absolutely right, Teresa. It's not only forgiving, but self-loving. That's the piece, is once you forgive, love becomes easy. It's like it opens up that space. And it's because the vacuum becomes open and love is what pours in. So the wound has to be addressed. You've got to find out how it's serving you. For instance, and I've talked about this a lot, with my husband. My husband is one of those kind of people who is so strong. He's driven, he's determined, he's excitable. In many ways, he's like this child who just doesn't get what's happening when he's on a path of excitement and exploration. It's like he loses all focus of everything else. For me, how it ends up feeling is like I'm being jackhammered by him all the time. And I want to get angry at him, and I want to be like, dude, you need to bring it down. You got to chill. You back off. And that was basically our relationship for a long time, is I need you to back off. And he's like, I need you to get bigger and come here and do more with me. And I realized recently that what was happening is I really close myself up when I'm not doing my work. When I'm home, or I feel this need to protect myself, this need to close my heart up. And I hold my emotions very close. I don't want to subject other people to my emotions. I don't want to subject others to my, varying viewpoints or fractured state or whatever it is that I think makes me bad. So I close it all up. And then I get angry at him for trying to open me with his jackhammering. So I have created a partner. I have drawn a partner to me that's going to continue to drive and escalate a behavior until I accept it. And I realize, oh my God, I ordered a jackhammer to break through the wall that contains and confines me. And what would it look like if I open me up? How can I open me a little bit more in this instance? Maybe if I don't need him to do it, I can thank him for reminding me that's what I needed, and then I can do it myself and open myself up. So with this portal happening right now, today is the perfect day for you to sit with everything that's been frustrating you, everything that's been bothering you, everything that's been building up, that's in your face, that's creating suffering for you. To sit with it and to find out how that's serving you. Try to see what it would look like if you remove the resistance to it. And try to use this energy, tapping into the center of the earth, tapping into our sun consciousness, opening yourself up and letting the awareness flow. Whatever shows up, whatever it is that you see, whatever it is that you think of, while you're allowing yourself to let these suffering experiences in, and to not avoid them, to not turn away from them, to not try to control them, and let the energy that's flowing through you flow through as you're opening that awareness. That's it. That's all you really have to do. That's what healing is. That's what ascension is. Ascension is clearing off the karmic debris that holds you at a lower vibration and allows you to then vibrate at a higher frequency. And it's not like, higher, better, lower, worse. It is where it is. If we looked at a sine wave and were to judge it based on where we're looking as whether that's good or bad, we're not balancing and encompassing the wave. Same thing is happening right now with all the light and all the dark. All the extremes are being shown so we can remember the whole wave. So if you're getting hung up in I'm not ascending, or I'm not awakening, or I'm not having this happen, or it's not fast enough, or I'm not learning enough, or I don't get that clear guidance, or I don't embody that vibration the way I want to. Remember, you're one of these sine waves. So you're going to be up, you're going to be down, you're going to be up, you're going to be down. I'm that way. Everyone I know is that way. Today's the day where you just go, oh my God, I love that about me. I absolutely love that I can encompass the gamut of frequencies and emotions. That's going to allow you to let go of the karma. The karma we hold to remember what we must address. Address it, allow it, open up to it, and then it releases. That's it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about too was ascension symptoms, DNA activation symptoms. What is that? What does that even mean? I'm only going to talk about this for just a short time because I do want to do a meditation for all of us. So the DNA activation symptoms, what's happening is as these frequencies are adjusting, as our planet is adjusting in vibration, as us collectively as a consciousness are adjusting and ascending together collectively, we're needing to change the vessel. The vessel has to shift in order to be able to manifest properly in the next frequency expression that we're shifting into. And that's kind of like what people are talking about when they're talking about the 3D, 4D, 5D. There is the process of the vessel shifting to be able to comprehend at this new dimensional expression or density expression. These are similar concepts in that they go together as we shift up. But let me try and explain it like this. Right now, we exist, most of us, in a three-dimensional expression, physical world. I can hold this rock, it's three-dimensional. I can feel its depth, its height, and its width, right? I can play with it, I can carve it, I can manipulate the three-dimensional. I can think in terms, my consciousness is in terms of, I can imagine this rock still in the earth and think about it there. I can think about this rock completely napped and carved or whatever into something, some tool. So I can think in a four-dimensional expression where time becomes malleable. We are shifting to where our physical expression is going to be a 4D expression where just like our physical things matter is manipulable, time will also be manipulable on a physical scale. And our consciousness is shifting into a 5-dimensional reality, where our consciousness is not just going to be stuck on this linear timeline of this expression of Jessie going through her life this way. Our consciousnesses are going to become connected on all the multiple realities that we exist in. So not just will I be connected to the Jessie who's here right now today, choosing to do this live video, I'll also be connected to the Jessie who never chose to do any healing work at all and continued to be a seamstress. And I'll also be connected to the Jessie who never chose to embrace her self-healing, her self-work, and stayed in a state of victimhood and stayed in a state of lack. And I'm connected to her as much as I'm connected to the me who's here now, as much as I'm connected to all the other multiplicities of myself, as well as I'm connected to other realities and dimensions and lifetimes where I'm not even Jessie at all. Maybe I'm some other person. Maybe I'm another being in a whole other reality. So that's what's happening. We're shifting to where the multiplicity of consciousness is coming into oneness. And what that means is it's getting harder and harder to look at the person across from you and think they're not a part of you. Try. It's getting harder. That's another reason why the extremes are becoming so highlighted. Why we have the political extremes so vast. Why we have social extremes so vastly different. We've got to see all aspects of that sine wave, right? We've got to see it all so we know where balance is, where the center is, where the oneness and the wholeness is. I promised I would do some card readings. And then we're going to do, I'm only going to do a couple actually. I think I promised Teresa. Let me go back and scroll back through. I know I promised Alexandra. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Alex, the Earth Magic deck wants to talk to you. So we'll pull that out. That's so funny. This is the same card that got pulled from the Earth Magic deck yesterday. And so it must be for all of us, I'm going to say. It's Waterfall again. Waterfall, reminding us to be effortless and graceful in our flow. The waterfall doesn't think about where the drops will land. It just goes and flows and takes that leap over the boundary, whether it's imagined or not. It flows in channels, but it also lets itself float off of the main channel if it needs to and become that mist that floats through the world. So I think this is about effortless flow for you and for all of us, and that's what we were just talking about earlier. Flowing the energies that are already flowing through the planet right now, through your body, through your consciousness, through your energy field, while you're in a state of loving allowance for yourself. I think that the other thing that reminds me of waterfall is if you've ever stood at the foot of a waterfall, you can never look at water the same way again. You feel the power. You feel the might of the collective of the water. You can hear the waterfall much before you even can see it. You can feel the thrum of it in the ground. It hits all of your senses. And all you can do is open up to them. Waterfalls are one of my favorite places to go. I go meditate at them pretty regularly. I am blessed to live in a part of the country where there's an infinite number of waterfalls. It feels like they're everywhere and at different times of year. They're different sizes and shapes, and you can't get enough of them. So I think what this is calling for us to do is to allow ourselves to flow our full power, our full potential. As we come into a unity with all the multiplicities of ourselves, we realize how amazingly powerful we really are. Let that be true for you. Let your power flow through you and radiate out of you. A waterfall is not afraid of overwhelming its environment. It dominates its environment in allowance. And by doing so, it creates a whole new environment. So I think that's the lesson that's coming through from Waterfall today, is let yourself create and carve and plunge in every way you need to. And my crows just showed up right outside my window is even more confirmation. I know Chris has been trying to come to this for a while, so I will do a card reading pull for you, Chris. The Messenger Oracle deck wants to talk to you. Okay. Something else. So last night, I don't know, I was out with my husband, and I happened to look up, and just the way the clouds were around the moon, it had this halo. And I thought, oh, that's so beautiful. I'm going to get out my camera and take a picture. But how it showed up on my picture, the moon looked like a heart. And I was just like, oh my God, I love you. And all I could hear was, I know I love you too. And it just opened me up. Well, the card that we pulled for you, Chris, is Follow the Moon. Tomorrow night is a full moon. Oh, did you guys just notice all the color shiftings that just went through here? There's a lot of agreement and confirmation on this. So tomorrow night is our full moon, right? I'm going to pull this up so I can see where we're at. And we are just about to have the full energy coming through. So usually the full moon energy is starts to show up about the night before, and it'll continue to about the night after the full moon. And I am feeling it. What the moon is about is reflection. The moon is about being one with and seeing all that's being reflected at you. Being okay with everything that you see being illuminated in your darkest spots, in your darkest spaces. This is something that we're all doing right now. We talked about that in the very beginning. Accepting and embracing the parts of yourself that you once decided were not worthy of love, would make you unworthy of love, so that you could not possibly have them. Let's say you're somebody who gets really angry when others don't show compassion. Let's say you're somebody who gets really frustrated when somebody bulldozes over other people with their belief systems, their emotions, or their values. Are you bulldozing over your own emotions? Are there things that you would rather not do, but you feel like you have to because others expect it of you? Do you not give yourself permission to have less compassion for others and more for yourself? Then you're going to be really frustrated by and attract people to you who lack compassion. Until you can see that you can love them too, even though they struggle with compassion. And that's how you learn that you can love yourself even when you don't feel the compassion for another, and be okay with that part of you too. This is how we face our shadows. This is how we transition away from saying, I can't stand that person. They're so selfish. They're so self-involved. And trust me, I struggle with all of this. This is personal lessons too. I can't stand that person. Oh, why do they behave that way? The truth is, I treat myself that way all the time. I don't give myself permission to say, wow, you know what? I had a lot of stuff organized and set up for myself to do today. I don't actually have time to do this with you. I know you need me, but maybe I can't attend. Maybe I can't show up the way you need me to. I don't give myself permission to say that. So I show up as much as I can. I put everything I have into being able to show up. And then when I go back to try to accomplish what I wanted to in the first place, I can't. I don't have the energy. I've already burnt myself out trying to do something that wasn't in alignment with me in the first place. And now I don't have what I need to do what I needed to do. And I feel frustrated. And then I want to feel like others are demanding of me or needing too much from me, I get reactive. I'm in the middle of this right now. Become reactive, and then I have to pause and remember, it's my schedule. I'm in charge of it. I work for myself. Nobody else puts anything on my schedule but me. Why am I doing this to myself? Because I'm worried, I'm afraid, I fear growth, I fear responsibility, I fear the expansion a little bit. I fear being responsible to others, I fear saying the wrong thing, I fear teaching something that will break something for someone that they weren't ready to break. I fear things. And my fear is what I'm avoiding facing. And it's much easier to get angry at others for driving my schedule than to face the fear that I'm still holding deep inside. That just came through for me. I needed to understand that better. Thanks for listening. So follow the moon. That's what it's about. That's how we do it. That's what that looks like. Okay, and I saw Aga request a card reading as well. Some goddesses want you to know that they're with you. Let's see who. Oh, that's funny. Whoever it is already clearing stuff out for me. I've been getting these ones a lot. Okay, so Serdwin we had the other day, actually, for somebody else. This is just more confirmation that this energy of transformation, of growth, of shifting, of allowing yourself to release the hold you have on the life that you believe is yours and allow yourself to transition and transform. And you, love, are on this path that is like no one else I know, honestly. And I'm sure there are days where you're like, I wish the ground were under me, or at least a branch. I can totally believe that. But remember, it's this lack of foundation right now and form, the lack of a coherent self right now that's allowing you to open so much and to show others what it is to release and allow and open. That's a beautiful thing. So what is your struggle? Is creating paths others can follow. And that's often the case. What we struggle the most with is so that we can help guide others, because they also are struggling with that. And this is the piece that we support. The other part, the other goddess who's with you is Lilith. Lilith is all about empowerment. Now, I know, Aga, that you and I are following pretty similar strands of growth and development, in the sense that we're both connecting in with the raw consciousness. The avians are guiding a lot of our work. I don't think there's any doubt why there's a blue eye at the top, blue sphere, and it's time for you to take that knowledge that you have. You know, she's got the serpent coiled around her feet because she's not afraid of embracing her reptilian nature. She's not afraid of embracing her avian nature. She's not afraid of embracing her darkness and becoming the fiery beast that she is. She is fully embodied, and she shows up as she needs to. It doesn't matter what that looks like. It doesn't matter who's upset by her or who's afraid of her. She shows up, and I think she wants you to know she's with you as you show up. And that empowerment feeling that you hold is there for you too. So don't let yourself get lost in other people's struggles to embrace their shadow. You're carrying Lilith vibration right now. You're going to have to deal with people like that. That's your job right now. So sometimes we have to serve as a breaker of other people's beliefs and feelings. Sometimes we have to act out of context with ourselves, because that's what it is to show up for them. And so she's there with you, supporting you. So maybe somebody's upset with you right now for your behavior. Somebody's pointing some fingers at you, wanting to blame you. Their shadow, want to yell at their mirror. Show up. Be the mirror. Okay, I'll be that. You want me to be, what am I hearing in here? I'm hearing some unreliable, though I could be filtering some of this. I've got some of this going on too right now. I'll be unreliable. I'll be inconsistent. I will not come to that appointment. I will flow with what's happening. When there's a massive storm, I will listen and I will not go, and I will misinterpret what you're saying, and I will think the worst of you, and I will be that person until I don't need to do that for you, to be of service for you. And the whole time Lilith is going to be there helping us stay strong and feel okay, and showing us, wow, I can actually love me even when I'm being a raging bitch. So that was that. Okay, let's see. Did I read for Teresa? No, I did not yet. Okay, so Teresa, let me feel. Oh, my Shadowscapes Tarot wants to talk with you. And this will be the last card I pulled, so we have a good 15-20 minutes for the Merkaba. Well, Teresa, I don't think you'll be at all surprised to get this one. You got the Fool, the 0 card of the Fool. This is my all-time favorite card in the Tarot deck. You know, we spend so much time in our lives trying to not be foolish, trying to not appear the fool, trying to not ever be the person out of the know. Not that I view you as that way. But this is reminding you how important it is to embrace the part that doesn't know, that is in a complete state of allowance of all conditions, even ones that should invoke fear, that should invoke a sense of fear and preservation. She is standing on a pillar on her tippy toes over nothing, over air, and she's flying. She doesn't need a foundation provided by others. If she falls, that's part of the joy of what she's here to experience. So I think right now it's time to shift a bit more into the Fool space, even less holding on to what you know, even less believing what you believe, and try to find what you don't believe. Try to find ways to break your beliefs. Try to find ways to step into the Fool space. I'm sorry, I'm getting so bright. It's hard to see. Be the Fool, and it will guide you. Okay. So that's all I'm going to do for readings right now. And let's just take a moment. Everybody check how you're sitting. I'm going to. I'm also going to get a sip of my coffee because I love coffee. And it just makes me happy. Okay, take a moment. Feel your body. Feel your breath coming into your body. Breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in. Smelling the air and exhaling. Some big release. Breathing in, present moment, present awareness. Smelling the air, feeling if it's warm or cold. Making sure your body feels comfortable, becoming aware of where your arms are resting. Really coming present into the body. I feel like some of you are having some distractions going on around you. You don't have to be frustrated by those. They're part of it too. Allow them, be grateful for them, and feel more of your body. Now I want you to imagine that coming out from your heart is like a shield, a triangular shield with a point in front of you and a point behind on either side. These 3 points are all of you. Your current self, your past self, your future self. They're all of you. Allow those 3 points to form this triangle around you, just like that symbol I showed you in the beginning. And allow those 3 points to come together and join below you, effortlessly and gracefully. If you don't feel like the joining point is below your feet, spread your points out a little bit and make your triangle a little bigger. If it feels really, really big, try to bring it down. We don't need to impact the entire creation in this moment. Bring it in around you comfortably and gracefully. Feel that point at the bottom of that pyramid that you have, and allow that point to continue as though it's a light shining down, your light. Let that light go down through the earth. Let it continue all the way through, out the other side, and effortlessly and gracefully arc in and connect into the sun. Just imagine you're diving into the sun with your light. Go through the sun. As you come out the other side with your consciousness, with your light, allow it effortlessly and gracefully to follow the gravitational pull right into the center of the galaxy, right into the heart of the Milky Way, right into that black hole where all light, all matter becomes one in the singularity. Good. Follow that through the singularity as the singularity begins to divide. Follow it back effortlessly and gracefully until you feel that point right above your head forming and opening up into the triangles, back into that shape of the pyramid, back into your points. Feel how at this point it's almost like a diamond shape of energy around you. Now imagine the top and the bottom merging together. You're making this shape with consciousness. 1 point above, 1 point below. See how they're perfectly balanced, and allow them to spin. Sometimes they spin clockwise, sometimes counterclockwise. Right now we're not going to try to control it, we're just going to allow it. And put yourself square in the center of that space. Feel that connecting light and that grounding light opening up inside and expanding inside, filling your entire Merkaba, flushing and cleansing. Now I want you to begin to think about some of the deep challenges that you've been facing. Choose one. And we'll walk through the process of facing our shadow. Choose a situation that you're going through right now that you're really struggling with. Call all of it up into focus. Allow yourself to get into the blame. Allow yourself to get into that externalization and look at that mirror. See all the things that are upsetting you, frustrating you, that you feel like are outside of your control, that you feel like are beyond you. begin to look at all of these things that you are thinking of, the frustration, the irritation, and the blame, and recognize all of that is how you are treating you. Not how you treat others, but it's how you're treating yourself. Flow more energy through as that awareness awakens more. Begin to see how this piece of yourself who's decided, I'm not lovable if I do these things, if I behave this way, I don't get to say no, I don't get to act that way, I don't get to express myself, I don't get to lose my snot just because I want to, because I'm sad or because I'm tired, I have to always behave. Begin to see how this part of yourself is not allowed. For a lot of people, it really helps to ask, how old is this part of yourself? How old are they? She, he. I can feel a lot of you are already starting to release some of this stuff. Good. If you can see the child state, that piece of the self, whether it's a child self, a teenage self, a beaten, battered adult self, begin to see them as you would one outside of you. If the external system is where you're at, use it to your advantage. Externalize yourself. For me, I couldn't have compassion enough for myself, so I had to see the little girls outside of me. I first saw it in the face of my son. Oh my God, that's what a 3-year-old thinks like, and I thought I was responsible for everything. Begin to see that child state, that wounded state. See how they don't need to be told what to do or what they're wrong for. They need to be heard and validated in what they are. They need to be allowed to be what they've experienced in that time. They need to be allowed to believe what they believe, so you can see all of it, how it serves you, how every time they pop up in the face of another person, what they're really asking for is, can't I be loved too? Can't I be accepted too? Open up your heart space and let them come inside. Bring that child in, embracing them, hugging them, feeding them, nurturing them, loving them, giving them safety and warmth until they feel like they can share with you what they believe, what they've experienced, how they have been saving you, supporting you, creating space for you, protecting you, making you irrational so others wouldn't dream of doing that again in the future. Right, when you weren't able to say no. See how all the ways they believe themselves to be bad are all the ways that you believe themselves to be a bit amazing. See if you can't fall in love with those parts until they believe you love them, until they believe there's nothing more important to you than them. And open up that heart even a little bit more, flowing the energy through the Merkaba, like arms supporting you and loving you. This is the process, and you can continue it with everything that is coming up, every little piece. When you start seeing the little children, the little girls, the little boys, the little parts of ourselves, usually there's a lot of them, go through them, allow them all in. And in this moment, I want you to also take a time, we're going to connect into that Christ consciousness grid with consciousness, with intention, with focus. So see how your Merkaba is a star spinning, your spinning star, and it's on that web. It's spinning in that web of consciousness, a golden web, a blue web. Feel that web. And open up to it more, allowing the frequency of the web to flow through you. Allowing your radiating energy to flow out through that web of unity consciousness, of wholeness. Continue spreading that energy out from you. That acceptance of your whole self, the shadowy parts of yourself, the underside as much as the lowest of you as much as the highest. Send that love and acceptance out through that web. And see how every other star connecting into that web is pinging and lighting up just a little bit more with love and acceptance. This is how we use the portal energy. This is how we connect. This is how we build our unity consciousness more and more. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay in this space as long as you need. It's here for you.